welcome back to the Out of Bounds podcast. I am Charlie Calieri alongside
Gavin Williams.
And today, well, first of all, welcome to Season 7. The last one for while we were at St. Bonaventure. What a wild ride. Season 7 is here. Who would have thought? Gavin, how was your break? And how was your football watching? Because this will be an NFL episode, as you can see by the title.
Yep.
How's your football watching over break as well?
Break was good. Caught up with friends, family, stuff like that. But I'll get right into the NFL, right into college football, nitty-gritty stuff. First of all, shout out to the Indiana Hoosiers.
Shout out.
Fernando Mendoza, Heisman winner. Kurt Signetti, he's officially happy now. His daughter sent him a text, officially happy. We're not talking about too much college, so I just want to say I loved the college football playoff. I think ever since it got to the second round, except for the Indiana game, almost every game was good. It was at least watchable. Especially that championship game. I was glad it was a good game. A little questionable with some of the people they put on the screen for the national championship game, but I'll leave it at that. Football watching, NFL. Awful. Period. That's it. Yeah, I think since we left school, we went on like a 4-game losing streak to end it out. So, just awful, period. And then we'll get into Jeff Halfley in a little bit, but key departure right there.
Yeah.
What about you? I mean, hey.
I'd say, yeah, it was pretty. I got to go to the last Bills game at the stadium. That was
really
pretty fun.
Wow.
Pretty emotional. Good game to go to. That'll be something I talk about for a while. And then, I don't know. I mean, obviously, the season didn't end the way we wanted to, whatever, the cliche or whatever, but it's true. And a lot has happened since we have talked last, including even within the last week. And let's jump right into it right here. There's been a lot of firings, hirings, interviews going on, a lot of games, a lot of results going on, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of trade discussions early in the offseason, a lot of free agency rumors going on, and especially a lot of draft rumors going on with the draft order being set, the college football playoff wrapping up, which means that, mock drafts are finally getting, nailed down a little bit more.
Yep.
Some guys returning back to school, which we didn't expect. Some guys going to the draft, which we didn't expect. Those are always it's a weird time of year. Fun time of year for the NFL and for college football and for the football world. But with that being said, there has been some firings and some hirings the last few weeks and week.
Yeah,
including the New York Giants were the first team to jump on this bandwagon of the coaches, and they got the best one. John Harbaugh will be the head coach of the New York Football Giants next year. Gavin, initial thoughts about that? We'll run through all of them, but initial thoughts for the first of these 4 hired coaches already.
You know what? Initial thoughts? Amazing. A lot of people are bringing up his past history with how many leads he's blown, which I understand all those conversations. You have Lamar Jackson, you can't do anything with it. He hasn't won since 2012. I get all these conversations, but the thing that the Giants haven't had since Tom Coughlin is like a Super Bowl winning coach. So the fact that they can finally get that and really just hone in and buy into his system, because he does have a great system. I mean, I know things didn't work out in Baltimore the way he planned. He wanted to retire there one day. Didn't happen. But you know what? Now he's getting to a young team who's hungry. On paper, that team's amazing, and I think with the right coaching, they can easily be a wild card team.
That's exactly the point that I was going to make. I mean, you saw this year the parity that was in the NFC especially, the AFC too, but the NFC especially with teams like the Panthers getting in, and teams falling out as well. But the New York Giants, I mean, you could see like a team like the Bears last year. The season kind of went way downhill after that Hail Mary, Jaden Daniels, all them.
Yep.
Look how quickly those teams just flipped this year. Bears at the bottom, or top of the conference, Commanders at the bottom. The Giants, I mean, all it takes is one good year. They have the quarterback in place. They have the wide receiver in place. Their offense is in place right now. Besides maybe an O-line or maybe 1 or 2 pieces here and there.
O-line and corner is really the biggest holes, I think.
And then, the defense just filling a few pieces there. And then I think you got a playoff-worthy team.
And I think, honestly, to fix the team, go get a splash free agency if you want to, but I think they can fix it in the draft. Like, I think it could be that easy of a little switch to help bring them. I'm not saying like a NFC front runner. I'm just saying to make it to wild card weekend.
I mean, the NFC is going to be loaded again next year. We know that, so it's going to be tough to get a wild card. Who knows what happens in Philly? I think they get back to where they were last year, next year as well. I think this was a down year, quote, for them.
Yeah.
But I think that they get back to the 1 seed level next year that they are. So can the Giants, is this a team that next year they sneak into that 7 seed? They're in that race, maybe with the team like the Packers or the Vikings in that kind of realm.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Packers are in that, but in that, that range.
Yeah.
And I think John Harbaugh might be the guy to do it.
I think he is.
If not next year, the year after is the year that they really go. And now with Washington being a young team in that division, Dallas kind of rebuilding, retooling now. That's an interesting, another competitive division to look out for next year in the NFL.
I just don't want people to judge him off of 1 year. I mean, I think that year 2 will be
it's easy in New York.
It is
I feel
easy.
Like
It's
look at
easy.
Rodgers, how quickly he tore his Achilles, and basically that was like a, what's it called for him? A death sentence for him for the New York media or whatever, for just New York in general. They were just like, oh, well, he's done.
Yep.
And then the next year, they didn't really give him a chance and went to Pittsburgh, made the playoffs.
Ball.
So, yeah. Moving on now to the next coach in this cycle. The Atlanta Falcons got their guy in a good hire. I think this is a good hire for them. Kevin Stefanski, the old Cleveland coach who they fired earlier this offseason, now going down to Atlanta to build that new regime, which Atlanta's going to have some new uniforms too. Soon too.
I forgot about that.
Pretty exciting, but a new young core down there in Atlanta getting a new coach.
I think the best thing about this hire is how inconsistent they've been on the offensive side of the ball. So going out and getting an offensive head coach, I think that was the right move. They had a defensive head coach in Raheem Morris. Their defense was okay. I'm not saying they were bad at all. But what I'm saying is their offense needs a lot of work, and that's the retooling that they're going to be able to do because they have the pieces on offense.
It was like they had the pieces on offense, and their offense and defense was pretty similar where they could have been better, but they needed that little extra push.
Yep.
And I think, like you said, if you have an offensive coach and you're already at that point with the offense, I mean, maybe that's the thing to push them over the edge, and the defense maybe stays where they're at.
Yeah.
And they're just good enough to get you by, and the offense is what really carries you to that next level, especially in that division where it was winnable for them. They only had to win about 1 or 2 more games. I think maybe
they had the same exact record as the Panthers.
Yeah, they would have made the playoffs, and hosted a playoff game. And who knows, because they beat the Rams on that Monday Night Football game. Who knows if they would have won that game or not?
Plus, I mean, you have the fact that Matt Ryan was a huge help in this hire.
Yep.
Because he stepped into the football operations.
He's in there now. Yep.
So.
Yep.
The fact that Matt Ryan was like, okay, this is our guy. That's their best franchise player of all time.
Atlanta seemed a little dysfunctional the last, 5 years. I'll say ever since that new rebrand that they had in 2020 around there.
I'd say ever since the 28-3 game, honestly.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, maybe a little bit after.
Almost, yeah, like a couple years after that. Like
Either
when
way,
Julio was done.
They've been pretty dysfunctional.
Yeah, Matt, yeah.
Rotating coaches, GMs, quarterbacks in and out for the last little bit, and now I think some stability in Atlanta, and that's always good to see too, because the Falcons, when the NFL's good when the Falcons are good, I think. So they're one of those teams. Moving on now, your guy, Jeff Hafley, going down to South Beach, and he'll be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, which is a interesting move. Definitely going to be a different scheme for the Dolphins. I mean, the last few coaches that they've had have been offensive-minded guys, Adam Gase, Mike McDaniel, those two. Maybe not Brian Flores, but he didn't really work out there. But going back to that defensive scheme in Jeff Hafley, going to be an aggressive defense, going to be flying around, and I think they have the guys to do it down there. What they have in place right now, and I think adding a few more guys, they were an old team this year. They got to retool some stuff, but I think Hafley's a great hire for them.
Oh, man, this one's so hard. This one is so hard. I wanted one more year with Jeff Hafley because I don't think anybody realizes how phenomenal of a coach he is. And I know situationally towards the end of the year wasn't great, especially the second half of the playoff game.
I will say that I think that I would have loved it personally as an NFL fan. I would have loved to see Hafley with Micah for one more year.
That's exactly what I was about to get into.
Like you said, I think the Packers season and the defense's season was in line with what Micah was doing this year. Got hurt. I mean, started to go downhill. Team started to go downhill. Hafley, I don't want to say his coaching went downhill, but he wasn't as good of a coach in the second half of the year as he was the first half. So
that's the thing too.
I just wanted to add that in.
That's why I thought there might have been a chance for him to come back, was because of how awful the last four or five games were. When the defense, I mean, I'm not saying like the Viking game because like who cares, but just the rest of the games in general. This is tough though. I really wanted one full healthy season with Micah and Jeff Hafley. But they got out there. They got Eric Sullivan. I mean, he was the vice president of the Packers operation team. He gets hired as a GM there. There's an immediate connection. He's gonna go join his friend. And you know what? I'm really happy for him because he deserves a head coaching spot. So good for Jeff Hafley. This is an A hire.
Yeah, I always like seeing teams hire the right guy, and I hate that it's the Dolphins in this case, I think that's a right move for them. Tennessee Titans, they're going to be opening up a new stadium next year, supposedly.
They are, yeah.
Supposedly, maybe not, maybe not, but I don't know. But they got a new coach in that new stadium, potentially with some new uniforms as well. Robert Saleh, who he's gone back and forth, and I know you're a back and forth on him type of guy.
Yeah,
I love Bob Saleh.
I do too.
I love this guy.
Too.
I think this is the stability and the sustainability that the Titans have been looking for ever since they made the biggest mistake in Titans franchise history. I think in the last
firing Vrabel.
In the last little cycle of trading A.J. Brown, letting go of Derrick Henry, and firing Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, that was an awful transition.
It was a terrible sequence of events for the Titans and the Titans fans. And I think now with Cam Ward, few good young pieces on that team, new stadium, a lot of juice in Nashville with them. I think Robert Saleh can come in, be that fiery guy, at least to be the coach.
Yeah.
The first little bit, maybe with the bridge years of Cam Ward, and then if they want to go on and move on from him, they can move on. But it's a good move for him. I mean, going to a team where he could be the coach for the next 10 to 12 years, or it could be one of those situations where, he's a coordinator back with the Niners probably in 2 or 3 years. So good move for him. I think it's a good move for Tennessee and another big name off the market.
I think the thing with Saleh is, I'm a big Saleh guy because he's one of Matt LaFleur's good buddies. But anyways, he went to being the best defense coordinator. Then going to the Jets. Didn't pan out the way they want him to. They fired him too early. He goes, he helps the Packers out for the rest of the season, then he gets hired back with the Niners, which he did have a good season. And I will say this, I don't know what defense coordinator would have been able to do it like that with that injured of a defense. But I thought it was going to be the same kind of thing as Hafley. Tough rest of the stretch. But I think his consistency throughout the season, I know it was just basically one game, which disgruntled the outcome of their season was the Seahawks game. But other than that, I mean, their defense was flying around all year. It was a scary
Titans
defense.
have a few pieces, too. I mean, Jeffrey Simmons, obviously, but they have a few pieces on defense where he could go in, just like Hafley, he can go in and plug and play, I think, with those guys. And
I think this helps the Titans, too, because I think now having a defensive-minded head coach, it lets Cam Ward get closer with his offensive coordinator rather than trying to just impress the head coach.
It goes both ways. Some quarterbacks, you need that help. You need that one-on-one kind of. I don't think Cam Ward's the type of guy. I think he's his own type of. We've heard it. His work ethic's crazy. I mean, he's the first guy in, last guy out. And I feel like when you don't have a guy like that, but you want him to be your franchise QB, you need an offensive guy in there to hold him more accountable. Mm-hmm. But when you don't need to have eyes on him at all times, then you go get the defensive guy. Good move. That's why I'm saying it. I think it's a great move for the
also
Titans.
think Robert Saleh also has a mentality that Cam Ward possesses with first man in, last man out. They both have just dog mentalities.
Yep.
I think that's going to come together very well. I can't wait to see them celebrating on the sideline because Robert Saleh's a fiery guy. He's going to be the one to jump into your face and want to give you a headbutt like Vrabel does. We'll see. I mean,
I think
I'm really excited.
Could be a very likable team coming up soon.
I think they can,
I think they could be one of those teams that, and I think, hate to say it, but I think the uniform has a lot to do with it. I think if you have I think if you have a good uniform, it's easier for people to root for you.
Are they rebranding this?
I think they're rebranding this offseason. New stadium. I think they're
new version.
Yep. Yeah, getting rid of these jerseys that they've had for way too long.
Go back to the Oilers colors.
And I think they are going back to the Oilers colors. Not same kind of template as before, but I think they're gonna
rebrand the logo too. Just rebrand everything. Fresh start.
I think they should. Yeah, they've had that T with the flame. It's sick.
Yeah,
it's a sick logo, but modernize it a little bit more.
Yeah,
I mean they've had it since 2000. I think since they came
into the
to
league.
Nashville.
Yeah.
So, but going on now to the rest of the openings real quick before we get to the AFC and NFC Championship in that order, because that's the order of the games on Sunday. But I'm gonna real quick because I feel like this is a little bit more timely for me. With my team not having a coach right now, being one of the 6 teams to not have a coach. I'm going to go through and rank, if I was a free agent head coach, where would I want to be next year? Out of the 6 teams, the Cardinals, the Ravens, the Bills, Browns, Raiders, and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
I'm going to go through and rank these 1 through 6. Gavin, you can do it as well if you would like.
Can we start at 6?
But I already did it. Yeah, and we're gonna go to 6 first.
Okay, yeah.
This is probably the easiest one for me. Out of all the places, it's the Arizona Cardinals. That team has never been anything, I don't think, and they have been the team to interview the most amount of people because I think they know it's the least desirable job.
It really is.
They don't really have a quarterback right now. I know Kyler's there, but he's hurt. Trade rumors going on with him. Mm-hmm. They have Marv. They have some good pieces, but that quarterback's not there. So this is going to be a retooling job for whatever coach goes there. I've seen Sean McDermott linked to that job. That would be a good move for him, I think, to
that'd be
maybe
fantastic
get back
for
on
that
his
franchise.
feet. Back on his feet for a little bit. Good for the franchise, I think, too. Tough division, though. That's the biggest part. That's another reason why I put it last. The location's good, but other than that, not much going on for the Cardinals and for that job opening.
I think for me, it's more of a 5A, 5B. I'm going to put the Cardinals at 5B.
Who are you putting at 5A, though?
I'm going to put the Raiders at 5A.
Putting the Raiders at 5A? Why?
I just think that situationally, they're not in a good place right now. I think they have a couple good pieces on their team.
Okay.
But I just don't, especially with the end of the season with Max Crosby, how they're asking him to sit out games. It's an organization that gives up. And I don't like that vibe of an organization. The one that's asking your guy to step down for the last couple of games because you want a better draft spot. I know he was a little injured, but he was willing to play through it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like that locker room's connected. And I don't know if I want to step into a locker room where I feel like it's more disconnected because I will put Cleveland ahead of them.
I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that I agree with you. I think that they've lost a lot of their culture, a lot of the Raiders' culture ever since they left Oakland, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's an obvious move there, but I think they need to somehow gain a little bit of that back.
Okay.
I don't know how, but get that feel of the Oakland Coliseum back in the Las Vegas, quote, Coliseum. Maybe call it that. Maybe call it Allegiant Coliseum. I don't know. Maybe something little like that. Maybe just change the vibe of what people think the Raiders are. Get back to being that classic team that people know is a good team. I don't think it's the second least desirable job, though.
Okay.
I think Cleveland is.
You do? Okay.
Just for the simple fact of, yes, they have Myles Garrett. Yes, they have some really good young pieces on offense. Good. Not great.
Yeah, no, good
young pieces on offense. But it's not great. And I think that some coach with some of these, the historic franchises that we have left on this list, I think that some coaches just wouldn't want to be the Cleveland Browns head coach, which is totally fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair. I think Las Vegas falls at 4.
Okay.
And I almost had them at 3, honestly.
Wow.
I think Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, Fernando Mendoza coming in. The defense isn't great. Vegas is a good spot to live. And the Raiders in Al Davis, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to give you every resource possible probably to go win.
Oh, Mark Davis.
Mark Davis. Sorry. Al Davis was dead. Mark Davis. He's going to give you every resource to win. He's done that with the coaches that he's had.
He's a good owner, too.
They just haven't put it together. So I think that Vegas would be a good spot for a coach to be, especially a guy like Sean McDermott. I think that's a spot where he could definitely go. I think Pittsburgh's probably the best spot for him, which is my third team.
Don't put him against Mahomes twice a year.
Which is my third team. But I think Vegas is a good spot where they have a lot of leverage right now, and I think that, that division's tough. Obviously, the 3 teams are, one of them's in the AFC Championship. The other one has one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. The other one's the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. So that's a really tough division there. But it's kind of the similar situation as the Cardinals in that sense. But I like the Raiders' job with the number 1 pick, those 2 guys on offense. I mean, some of the best young talent in the league right there.
I'm going to put the Browns at 4.
Okay.
And for the simple fact that I think they had a lot of more energy. And I like, you said the good, not great players, but I really like those good players. And they were all really young. And I think a coach can walk in there.
They had 8 rookies starting last year.
I think a coach can go in there and bring in a culture because they're not used to a culture yet. So if some guy can go in there, fix it right up, like a Sean McDermott or something like that, I think that could be a really good spot. Especially you don't know if you have your franchise guy yet, but you're willing to give him one more year.
That's a team where they're 2 years away, and I think that next year they're going to be a quarterback away.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
That's all they're going to need to plug in for the 27-28 season is a quarterback, and I think that the Browns are going to be back to where they were with Baker and Jarvis and Odell. I think that's what they're going to be.
But I think Cleveland might be a little bit more of a desirable job than Vegas, just for the reasons of their team in general.
It's fair. That's why we're talking about it now.
Exactly.
I got Pittsburgh at 3.
Okay.
I would have had them at 4, and I think if I was going out there, I probably would take the Vegas job over the Pittsburgh job. But I think that most of these coaches, that being the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers really means something.
It does.
And that does not come around too often.
Since 1969, they've only had 3 coaches.
Only had 3 coaches right there. I mean, that's insane. The longevity of those coaches that they've had, the success that all of them have had, no matter playoff losses or not, whatever, they've had success. Yeah. So continuing that legacy for fans who want success and need a Super Bowl back in that city, I feel like they, more than most fan bases, are really dying for it. I think that's the 3rd most desirable job right now. And honestly, it might be first in most off seasons, but these other two are just way better.
I'm also gonna put on
Pittsburgh at 3.
Pittsburgh at 3, but for my main reason too, I think, like you said, tradition. 3 coaches since 1969. They're gonna want a guy that you can be there for 15 years. But that team, they're just a couple pieces away from being really special. We see more than likely Aaron Rodgers on his way out because he was a Mike Tomlin guy. And so now there's a hole in that offense. So what are you going to do? You got to go out and get one. But the defense, I'm only putting this with an asterisk because it's more about on paper than it is how they perform. On paper, they're a great team. And if you have the right coaching, I think you can really fix up that team and make it so they're not just a 9-8 special. So, Pittsburgh just like you said, tradition. So I agree with that.
I think you look at this crop of teams, and I'm looking at it right now, and it doesn't look that great. You're like, oh, well, you got Bills, Ravens, then you got 4 kind of, middle-of-the-road bum teams. I disagree with that, honestly, because you got Myles Garrett out there, you got P.J. Watt out there, you got Lamar Jackson out there, and you got Josh Allen and Max Crosby.
You all got franchise guy at every single spot.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think there's really I don't even think the Arizona job's that bad either. I think that they have some guy. I mean, there's a lot of that. The Arizona job's kind of like Play-Doh, kind of like molded into whatever you want it to be. But some of these other ones are kind of set in what they need. Yeah. Cleveland, you need next year it's kind of a go year, and then like I said, the year after that, go get a QB.
Yeah.
But the Arizona job is kind of moldable. These 2 jobs right here, Baltimore, Buffalo, who I'll throw out 1A, 1B. Buffalo being 1A, Baltimore being 1B. Those are 2 very desirable jobs, and probably the most desirable jobs of the last decade, maybe. Very important coaching cycle here. I would be very scared if Sean McDermott goes to Baltimore.
And a lot of people, there's a lot of rumors about it.
I'd be very scared. Yeah. Very scared of that. But huge hires for both of those teams. Huge hires for the whole AFC. Yeah. Honestly, that could really make a lot of difference in how things shape up the next few years, I think. But I have Baltimore too. Just because I think the Bills does a better job having the better quarterback, I think, and having the better facilities now. I think that
especially getting a whole new stadium
makes it the 1A job, I think.
This is like a really, really close one. I agree it's more like 1A, 1B instead of 1-2. I am going to put the Bills at 2. And I think there was one thing that I was leaning towards to put the Bills 1 is I'm comparing Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. And Josh Allen's a better quarterback, so that should be 1. But then something brought me back to why I'm putting it at 2. It just feels like there's some people not on the same page in that franchise. And we saw it in the press conference yesterday. I mean, how do you say Terry's last name? Pagula? There's just some misconnection going on between coaching and the ownership and the GM. It doesn't feel like everybody's connected.
You know what's funny is that, obviously Bills and Sabres fans are the same fan base.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you can be lactose intolerant and not be dairy intolerant. You can't be dairy intolerant, not be lactose intolerant kind of thing.
That's a crazy analogy, but I know exactly what you're saying, yeah.
There's Sabres fans that are almost every Sabres fan is a Bills fan, but there's Bills fans that are not Sabres fans.
Yeah.
So that amount of Bills fans that are not Sabres fans are the ones that are on social media, and now NFL fans are the ones now seeing Terry Pagula and how bad he is at press conferences.
Yeah.
This dude has been doing this with the Sabres for the last decade plus, obviously, since he's been the owner. And that's why we've had so many, why we've been seeing the Sabres, and they are seen as such a dysfunctional and out of touch and offbeat franchise because of stuff like that. You get to a point where you're like, all right, they made this structured move, fired McDermott, promoted Bean, and then Terry goes in and shuffles it up because he wants to make a splash and make himself known in these press conferences. I think that the Baltimore owner didn't help much with that.
No, yeah, he didn't
with
either.
What he did last week and being all cool guy in that conference.
We only have one more week
left.
left.
I think Terry wants to be that kind of guy. He's not.
Yeah.
But I think he wants to be that kind of guy. And I think he just started saying stuff when he got up there because he likes to have the power. And he likes to have people know what he's done. Like, he did not need to mention that he walked up to Josh Allen after the game.
Nobody
said
cares,
it's not
man.
a catch, and talk about how Josh Allen just straight up ignored him.
I would have too. I mean,
imagine
you just lost a playoff game,
imagine
heartbreaking in overtime.
The dude being this powerful of a guy, where the guy that writes your paycheck, you cannot look at him.
Just give him the finger,
and he
man.
would still be fine.
Yeah.
with not having you look at him. That's how much power Josh and the power for a current player to be in on the coaching search.
Yes,
for the next head coach.
That's huge. It's huge.
It's insane. I'm glad he's in on it. Obviously, he should be. He should have some say in that, and which makes me think that we will be going with an offensive coach.
I think so
maybe
too.
That's going to lead into what you want to talk about now.
But the thing I want to get into really quick, I didn't like the promotion with Brandon Beane.
Me neither.
I didn't like it because I saw this.
What it was.
Yeah, it is what it is. I saw this stat. I'm not gonna talk about it for too long, but drafting only was 2 Pro Bowlers or All Pros or whatever. But I know. It's developmental.
Which yesterday,
patience.
I kind of discounted that stat because I agree with it. Yes, you should draft more in that time frame. Yes, but it says since 2018, and if you take the 2017 and 2018 draft classes and free agency classes that he brought in his first 2 off seasons, yes, we're still holding on probably to those 2 off seasons and why he probably still has a job.
Yeah,
but those 2 were
they were strong and powerful,
foundational in instrumental to building up the Buffalo Bills into what they are now.
Okay.
That I think that kind of saved his job at the end of the day.
I think it did too.
He did more at the beginning than Sean did, and I think that was not the Denver game was the reason. I don't think it was any of that. I think that's just what it was, and I think that Beane has seen to have done more in Pagula's eyes than McDermott.
That's true. I don't know. I just also believe in once in a while you got to use your first round draft picks, and I know for the past couple of years we've had this conversation where it's trading back. Even I know it's like the 33rd, 34th pick, which is still good, but it's just sometimes you got to use them. But other than that, I'm going to move on to Baltimore, why I think they're number 1.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that I'm not bringing up the Lamar thing because I just said 2 minutes ago that Josh Allen is better. But I think there's a little bit more on paper on the defense than what the Bills have on paper. Just as of right now, I don't know if we're still free agency away and draft away, but just on paper, not about how they work together, but they should be a better defense. I think that they could be a head coach away from making a defense be spectacular, and that's why I think they need a defensive coach because
I agree.
I think Baltimore, if they get a defensive coach, and like I said, now I think Lamar is the guy where you kind of need an offensive coordinator where he can just lean on and be buddies,
That's the kind of the guy that I'm talking about, where not to say Lamar, not the first guy and last guy out type of guy, but he's the type of guy where he might need a little bit extra, a little bit more structure, I think, in his game, and it's not a bad thing, but having that offensive kind of minded coach, it's worked with Harbaugh. He won he won 2 MVPs doing it.
Yeah.
Got to an AFC championship, should have made a Super Bowl, but didn't. But I think that recipe works, and I think that the Bills maybe see that now. I think maybe just somebody had to go in the Bills organization. I think that
somebody did. You had
somebody
to do
at the top. I think just to maybe widen people's eyes because, like Terry said, and I think it makes sense. I don't think he was saying it very well. He walked in that locker room. He saw what he saw. He probably heard people saying things, mumbling things. There's raw emotion after that game.
It's raw.
People are saying stuff. He can see if how the coaches are feeling. If maybe Sean didn't have a good react, maybe he just wasn't sad. Maybe he didn't feel that emotion from him like he
did
saw
in his press conference
from the quarterback. Maybe
that was right after the game.
I personally, right when I saw that, I go, he's trying to save his job.
Okay.
That's what I saw.
That makes sense. Because if we want to talk raw emotion, we look at Josh Allen.
I think he's been so comfortable the last few years. Think about all the games that we've had, and he's never done that one time. Never done that one time.
So he was trying to save his job.
Never, quote, stood up for Buffalo, which I'm fine with that. I respect the guy. I really nothing bad to say. I felt very performative to me in that last press conference now, knowing what we know now that he's fired. But I said it at the time. I was like, it doesn't seem like something that he would really say. You hear these coaches all the time. 20 press conferences out of the year. He's never for years. Out of the 20 every year for years, he's never done anything like that. And I think that he knew in that last one that was his last chance to maybe save his job. So
that's fair. I didn't think about it like that.
That's just the way that I saw it, and reflecting on it now the last few days, that's kind of where I'm at, and just got to keep moving. I don't know.
So, your number one head coaching vacancy that's open.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, likely or unlikely? Okay.
Isaiah likely?
No, not Isaiah likely. Good shout, though. So I'm just going to give you a name. You tell me likely or unlikely, just a little bit of why.
Okay.
First name up, current offensive coordinator Joe Brady.
I'm going to say likely. I don't want it to be likely, but it is likely. I feel like they meaning the Bills, want a familiar guy in there, somebody who's familiar with Josh, familiar with the offense, familiar with the fan base. If you know who I'm talking about already, that's kind of pigeonholed into there. But I think it's likely, but I don't think it's going to be him.
Okay. Now, next name up, one of your former guys, Brian Daboll.
Likely. Just completed an interview with him about 20 minutes ago. I just saw that Schefter notification pop up.
I didn't see that.
27 minutes ago, we have just completed our interview for the head coaching job for Brian Daboll. I think very likely.
Okay.
I think.
Would you like that?
Ties to Buffalo.
Ties to New York in general.
OC. Went to St. Francis. Shout out.
Yeah.
My guy Brian Daboll. I wouldn't hate it.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't love it. Wouldn't absolutely love it.
Okay.
You know, like a Harbaugh. But I would like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'd be totally fine with it. It's a guy that I know Allen likes. And I know that Allen wouldn't. If it's a guy that Allen likes, I feel like he wouldn't hesitate to not hire him.
Okay.
Because he wouldn't just hire him just because. I mean, Allen at this point in his career, he knows I'm not just hiring a guy just because I like him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want a coach who's going to push me to that next step.
Yeah.
So
likely. Next name up. Just because he's out there, just gotta throw it out. Mike Tomlin.
Unlikely. I don't think there's much connection between the two. I think the only connection we really had with him was McDermott.
Yeah.
Now he's gone.
Yeah.
So I think unlikely, but would I hate it? No. Not at all.
All right. What about Mike McDaniel?
Well, he is not out there anymore. He is the Chargers OC.
Oh, he is? I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
That happened last night.
Oh,
so
probably,
so he's
good for him. It's a good spot.
So I will say unlikely.
Yeah, unlikely.
That's a good spot for him. Yeah.
All right. Got two names left on this list.
Okay.
Next one up, Anthony Lynn.
Anthony Lynn, also former Bills coach,
Yep.
former head coach of the Buffalo Bills for one game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Shout out before he went to the Chargers. But I will say unlikely. I think that he's one of those kind of guys where they're familiar with him, but I think a lot has changed since they were familiar with him. So I think that was maybe a Terry call, and I think he was like, "Oh, I know that name. Let me bring him in for an interview." And I think it's more unlikely than not that I think Anthony Lynn at this point is more of a coordinator than a head coach guy.
All right. Last name up. I know you've been waiting for me to say his name. Can you guess it?
Is it Kubiak?
It is Clint Kubiak from the Seahawks. You know what they're doing this season. He's fresh out of the gate.
I'll say likely, and I'm all in on a Kubiak, honestly. I don't have a preference between him or Dable, but those seem like it's going to be...
those are your top two right now?
It's going to be one of... It just seems like that's going to be one of the two. I'm not saying that's my top two, because my top two would probably be Tomlin and some... Because those are just the best coaches out there. So that's the way I would go, but I understand that the Jags guy that's out there, forgot his name, but... I
can't remember
what's
either.
What's his name? Ukinski, Grant Ukinski, the OC from the Jags. He's out there. I wouldn't mind him either. But yeah, I think that the Kubiak from the Seahawks, not the Niners, would be a good fit for us. Obviously, kind of along the same lines as Dable, kind of just whatever mind that Allen likes better offensively, familiar mind or fresh mind that he thinks might be a little bit more creative. So I don't know.
I'm just really glad that Josh is in on the conversations.
I think so too, which makes me think that it might be leaning towards Dable because that's the most success individually. I personally think, even though Allen's had better chances to win MVPs the last few years, I think what's it called, stat wise, I think those are his best seasons.
I'm excited if that happens. And then Just
football playing wise seasons, it's been the last few, but stats wise, it was when Dable was here.
I'm gonna put something out there. We're not even close. We still got 2 months. Do you want to go out and make a splash for a wide receiver? Do you think he needs that?
Yeah, I think we trade our first round pick this year, our first round pick next year, and we trade Keon Coleman just give him a package, give him a fresh start.
Yeah.
Honestly, with this guy, I get sick of him every time he's in there. I think a lot of Bills fans do. I think he gets sick a lot of hearing us.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out.
Who would be a guy you want? Would you bring in like a guy like A.J. Brown?
I would want a Justin Jefferson. I wouldn't want A.J. Brown. I would want.
I didn't know if you were willing to take the risk on a diva.
No.
I'm AJ, big fan, but like just I'm saying.
Another name that we've been linked to is Brian Thomas Jr.
Okay.
Which shocked me.
That'd be a cool one.
Shocked me, but I think that
I don't
Jacoby
think they'd let him
Myers
go.
going there now opens up that door.
It does.
I think that's what a lot of people are saying. And he had a bad year this year.
He's on a rookie deal.
Apparently, he looked really bad this year. Not that he was hurt, but apparently he looked really bad. But he was hurt, though. So I think that the season that he had last year,
it was unreal.
Unreal. One of the best rookie seasons ever.
Yeah.
I think that's still somewhere in him. I mean, that was only a year ago.
Yeah.
So I think go.
I think we kind of saw it in the playoff game when he got the touchdown.
There's not going to be any wide receivers that are worth a first round grade, I think, this year.
Okay.
So trade your first round pick this year. Trade your one next year because you think you're going to be good.
Except for like Mekhi Lemon, I think he's worth it.
That's fair, but he's probably going to go before us.
He's going to go high. Yeah.
So, and then you trade Keon Coleman. I would say offer that to the Vikings for Jefferson. Say, hey, here we go. Here's a young receiver, 2 free picks that you can do anything you want with. Draft a receiver, draft some defense if you want, draft a quarterback. We don't care.
Yeah.
Here's your picks. Do the same thing with the what's it called? With the Jags.
Yeah.
See what they want. If they want them, there you go. So I don't know. I think you go out and get one of those guys. If not, I don't know who is out there wide receiver wise in free agency. I think it's like Keenan Allen and those type of guys. So not great, but
all right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We want to move on now?
Yeah, let's move on. First of all, let's talk about real quick about the teams in some potential people that are going to be there. So like I said, for Arizona, now that Sean McDermott has emerged into almost all these conversations. But Arizona, they have interviewed the most amount of people, including Jeff Hafley, John Harbaugh, and Robert Saleh. I personally think they go with the Arthur Smith or the Raheem Morris or the Mike LaFleur route. I think they go with one of those coaches. Mike LaFleur, yeah.
His brother.
I think they go with one, or Vance Joseph. I think they go with one of those guys.
Okay.
Coach that's been around the block a little bit, hasn't controlled the locker room. I think that Gannon just wasn't the guy for that team.
No, I also don't see him as a head coach either. I think he's a really good coordinator. I just don't think he's the guy for a head coach.
Who?
Gannon.
Gannon is linked to your team.
I know. I wouldn't be mind picking him up as a DC. I want him or Raheem Morris right now, and maybe a couple other guys. But
so all those guys, I think they would be great for that team. Baltimore, Joe Brady's been linked heavily.
I've seen that a lot. Yeah.
Brian Flores has been linked a lot.
Brian Flores just came out and said if he doesn't get a head coaching, he's willing to extend as a defense coordinator with the Vikings.
Oh, there you go.
But he needs to get a head coaching offer.
So I think that he will be the head coach. Long story short, I think he will be the head coach of either the Ravens or the Steelers. Because the Steelers
that's
are
a good
going
fit.
after
it's a good fit.
Anthony Weaver and Brian Flores. Both,
Makes sense.
And Mike McCarthy as well.
Brian Flores has ties with Pittsburgh, too.
Yeah, so a few more, I think that those two teams want a guy that's ready to go in and make a push. I think the Bills maybe scaling that back and going for maybe a younger guy.
I think so,
some
too.
Some of these things that we've had. But I just want to touch on that real quick. And then the Raiders and the Browns are kind of just open right now.
Okay.
Don't know what's going on there. But with the other teams, they're a little bit more structured, and we can see what's there a little bit. But you want to move on to the championship games now?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So AFC championship game, 3 o'clock on Sunday. It's going to be the Patriots. Who would have thought? In Denver, taking on the Broncos. It's a tough one. I probably, honestly, will not be watching this game.
Wow. Okay. Not even in the background?
I will be watching it.
Will at least be in the background?
It will be on the background.
Okay.
It will not be my main focus on
your main
Sunday
focus will be on your phone.
My main focus will be 6:30 on Sunday for that second game, which we will get to in a little bit.
We will.
But You want to head this game. It's kind of weird. I wanted to head the NFC Championship game. Gav wanted to head the AFC Championship game. A little bit of a conference swap today.
Yeah, a little conference swap.
But let's get right into it. In Mile High.
Yeah, right in Mile High, 3 o'clock, which there it will be 1 o'clock. So, Denver looking to be a little chilly there this weekend.
No night games.
Night games.
Sorry to interrupt again, but Seattle will be the other host. That game's going to be at 3:30 there.
3:30, yeah.
I mean, going to be a light day of conference championship games.
So, this game specifically, we all know the elephants in the room, the big story. Bo Nix out on the third to last play, broke his ankle, which sucks. If he was in this game, now we're talking about like a decent game that we're going to have. Now you have Jarrett Stidham. This is a tough matchup for Jarrett Stidham because this defense is flying around right now. 4 interceptions in the first half. And I know it's CJ Stroud, and I know that he had a really, really bad year. It still counts, though. 4 interceptions is something that you can't frown upon. Only left three points to the Chargers, which I know they might be a little banged up. Still a playoff team. I don't care. And, we saw a lot of success from this defense in this whole season, finding a way to force turnovers. You have some guys like Carlton Davis who finds a way to step up in the most random of times. Marcus Jones, proven guy. But then you still have those guys on the Broncos offense, excluding the quarterback position, like Courtland Sutton. And I'm going to put a name out there because he hasn't done anything, but I feel like if there is a guy who's going to have a good game for this offense, I have a feeling that Evan Ingram's going to find a way to get in the end zone this week. Because I feel like maybe Bo wasn't tight with him, but maybe Jarrett Stidham's got a little connection.
I feel like, tight ends become a premium when your quarterback goes down, or when you're not confident in a point in the game. You look at your tight end because he's a safety valve for you.
Mm-hmm.
He's the type of guy who's always going to be open. He's the reliable guy in life and in the game. Dawson Knox type of guy. He'll be at every dinner that you're hosting. He'll also catch every pass that you throw to him.
Yeah.
And I think that Evan Ingram could be that type of guy for Jarrett Stidham.
I do. And then obviously you have those guys like Courtland Sutton. You still got Mims out there. You have a very, very solid team. With that being said, now we have to look about the matchups for the Patriots offense and the Broncos defense. And this is where my biggest hole is for this Broncos team, because this is something that Will Campbell's really struggled with this playoffs are edge rushers, and they have Nick Bonito coming right at him. And I'm not saying that Will Campbell's going to win this battle. But the thing that's different is this defense, when I'm talking specifically edge rushers, both teams have had crazy edge rushers, especially last round with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. So now it's just kind of focusing on one guy. I'm not saying take away from the other guys, but I'm saying focusing on one Pro Bowl guy. But then you go out there and you're like, hey, all right, who's guarding Stephon Diggs? And you're probably going to say Pat, because that's the PS2, probably going to put him on there. But now you got to think about, do you really want that matchup of Riley Moss and Kayshon Boutte? I mean, we know who's winning that matchup. I think based on matchups, the Patriots are favored to win this game, especially with Jarrett Stidham. The things that the Broncos need to separate themselves in are causing turnovers, because Drake May's not the greatest of hanging onto the ball. I'm not saying throwing the ball away, but he does like to fumble. Well, not like Sue, but he does fumble. And specifically with the Broncos, find a way to minimize the use of Stidham. I think if you dominate and open up your run game, then you can play a little play action here and there, maybe a little RPO here and there. But everybody knows the heavy favorite going into this game is the Patriots. Even though it is in Mile High, they have never won a conference championship in Mile High. So there's going to be a little bad blood there. But when you have a guy like Vrabel, I think that's the difference maker between like what Mayo did last year and what Vrabel's done this year. And I think, personally, if I were to pick this game, I got the Patriots winning by 10.
All right. I've been the biggest Patriots doubter.
You have.
This whole year. I picked against them time after time. It come back to bite me time after time. And I just went back and looked at their last 2 years of their schedule. Obviously, last year they lost a lot of games, and I wasn't looking at that. I was looking at where they played.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where they have not played at any intense environment? At all.
What, this season?
At all. Last season, this season, they played.
Except for like Buffalo.
I will say they played the Bills, and they beat the Bills in Buffalo.
Played in Tampa.
They played in Baltimore. But Tampa's not.
Not what it was.
Not that. They played in Baltimore, won that game. That was a good game. Baltimore was rocking that game. I understand that. Baltimore blew that game. If you're watching that game, Baltimore blew that game. Okay? So I don't take that in much account. Last year, if you want to even go back to there, maybe San Fran, maybe that was it, but they got smoked 30-13. Not even sure Drake Bake played in that game.
Yeah.
They got smoked, though. Okay? Got smoked, though. And then, now, Broncos. They haven't played on the road in a while, too. Broncos.
Who, the Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Broncos in Denver. I'm picking against the Patriots again. I'm going with Denver, and I'm having them win 23-20. It's going to be a defensive game. If the defenses are playing in this game, just know that Jarrett Stidham is going to be dinking and dunking against that Patriots defense, and he'll be better than most people think. I think that against his former team, which is something that nobody's also bringing up, against his former team, he's going to have some motivation. I think he could get it done. I'm not saying he gets the whole thing done, but I think he's been in the league long enough. He's not some young backup quarterback that's getting thrown into this like a Josh Dobbs that one year in that Week 18 game or, whatever. He's a Nick Foles type of guy. I hate to be that guy, but
Nick Foles was more proven by the time he was a backup.
I disagree. I think that Nick Foles, literally people think, I don't know. I don't think he played much before. He played more than Jarrett Stidham, yes.
He was the Eagles'
but he was terrible.
Starting quarterback. But he was still.
But he was terrible,
okay.
Though. So Jarrett Stidham was the quarterback for the Patriots at one point, but
for like a game.
Whatever. But still, I think the Broncos can come out on top in this game.
Okay.
I think that losing Bo Nix is going to hurt, but they still have a good running game, still have a good O-line, and I think that with the wide receivers that they have, the wide receivers can do more than I think the Patriots corners can. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So I think that Jarrett Stidham, it'll be easier for him to get those balls out, potentially to a target like Evan Ingram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So should be a good game, should be a close one, but I think the Broncos take it.
I really want the Patriots in this one.
Last year, correct me if I'm wrong, did we have opposite Super Bowl picks last year?
We did.
I think I had Bills.
No, I also had Bills. I had Bills Eagles last year.
Maybe not. Okay, so we both had Bills Eagles last year.
But the year before that,
I
picked the Chiefs. You had the Bills.
I think I had Ravens Lions the year before, and I think you had Chiefs.
I had Chiefs Niners. Yeah.
So could be the same this year. I'm not sure who you have in this NFC game, but let's get into it right now.
Yeah, throw it right in.
I will say, I think whoever wins this NFC game is going to win the Super Bowl. Spoiler for next week in our Super Bowl preview episode, which is going to come in the next 2 weeks. Stay tuned for that. But I think these are the best two overall teams in the league this year, personally. And before I reveal who I think is going to win, let me just say that I took this quote from an article.
Okay.
Shout out. Sunday marks the first time a number one scoring offense will meet the number one scoring defense in a conference championship game since 2014.
Oh, come on, man. You had to bring it up. You had to bring it up.
And then
you had to bring it up.
Since 1990, the number one scoring offense is 0-4 versus the number one scoring defense when they met in the conference championship game or the Super Bowl. 3 of the 4 offenses had the NFL MVP on that team.
Aaron Rodgers was an MVP in 2014.
2 of those 4 wins were by the top defense, came from the Legion of Boom Seahawks versus Green Bay.
Yep.
And then that same defense against Denver.
Yep. Yeah, in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, which was an incredible defense that year.
It was.
So I will say this, though, on the flip side of that, the Rams are the last team to beat Seattle in Week 11, 21-19, the last loss that Seattle had.
That was a really good game, too.
Great game. And then...
That was in L.A., though.
And then, yes, and then
the Thursday
Week
night
16 game that we all know and love, and best
game of the year.
One of the best games I've ever seen. 38-37 OT loss for the Rams, but they were up 30-14 in the fourth quarter.
They were.
Okay? So they know how to play the Seattle team. And I think that Stafford ends up getting the MVP. I think he wins this game, moves on to the Super Bowl, wins that Super Bowl MVP. I think he wins that Super Bowl, and I think he rides off into the sunset. And I think that the Rams take this game before they get to the Super Bowl. I think they take this game 31-30.
Wow.
Another instant classic from these two. Also, the all-time season series is Seattle is up 29-28.
Really?
So I think that the Rams also
tie
even
it
it
up
up in that sense too. So I like the Rams. I've liked them a lot of this season. I've liked them at the start of the playoffs. I said before the playoffs, I said Rams, Jags. I'm going to stick with the Rams in the NFC. So I'm going to go with them in this game.
I have this big thing. Apparently the last couple of years, not last year, but the year before that, with Super Bowl rematches. Okay? You know, last year we had KC Eagles. I was a big fan of it. A lot of people hated it. I love Super Bowl rematches.
Yeah.
Year before that, KC San Fran. I loved it.
Super Bowl rematch, yeah.
And in my prediction, I have the Patriots going. And it doesn't matter who wins this. It would be a Super Bowl rematch. Man, I love that. I mean, do you like seeing the same teams go? No. But are all three of these teams I have considered in my Super Bowl completely different since the last time they went to the Super Bowl? Yes. Did they both go through rebuilds? All three of them? Yes. I'm really excited for this game. Or they did this game to lead to the Super Bowl.
Right.
To lead to my, quote, Super Bowl rematch.
Right.
Which still might be.
All four would be a good matchup, I think.
So with that being said, there is a man out there who is the king of the fourth quarter comeback. He has the most fourth quarter comebacks currently in the NFL. That's still playing. His name is Matt Stafford. You know, Matthew Stafford's a stud. He's on a lot of touchdowns. And I said this the second the Packers lost. I was talking to another Packer fan, shout out Jake Dope, my man. And I said, who do you want to win the Super Bowl now? He goes, I want the Rams because Devontae needs his ring. He needs his ring. That being said,
it's time.
It's time. It's time that he goes to play in his first Super Bowl. I like Seattle. And you know what? This Rams defense has been really questionable recently. I mean, 31 points to the Panthers. But they played very well in Chicago, which that was a very, very hard place to play in last week.
Yep.
They were all over the place. Especially letting up that crazy touchdown in the fourth quarter, finding a way to hone it down, get a stop in overtime. Get the interception in overtime with Cam Curl. Shout out Cam Curl. I love you forever for eliminating the Chicago Bears. Love you forever. Unless you become a Bear. Gets the interception. They hold that team to 17 points with, quote, Iceman. Doesn't deserve that nickname yet. But I will say this. Sam Darnold has been a stud this year. I think it ends on Sunday.
I agree.
I think this whole magical season run that's been really cool to see him get his career back on track, it's over. I think it's not over for this year.
Yeah.
And I think
agree.
Like you have guys like Jared Verse out there that are just too scary. But
can I point something out here? And
absolutely.
I'm just sitting here thinking about these three guys. Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, and Devontae Adams.
It's crazy, man.
I don't expect you to have the answer here.
Okay.
And let us know down below if you're thinking about this at this point too. What other quarterback and two wide receivers, specifically wide receiver duo, has been better in the last little bit than those three?
The only one that I would probably throw in there, because you said wide receiver duo.
Wide receivers only, because you could throw in Tyreek and Travis.
That's
Kelce,
what I was going to
obviously,
say,
Mahomes, but wide receivers specifically, those two on the outside and Matt Stafford.
I think the only one that's close would be Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. But now we look at like the severity of that. I mean, we have one of the greatest to ever step on the field in Devontae Adams.
That's what I thought. I mean, you think about that too.
Yeah.
And that's just in today's game too. I don't even think you're thinking of I don't even know. That's I think question of the day.
I think that is question of the day.
We can stack up, and if the Rams win this game, we could do this exercise next week, try to figure this out. But I'm really going to start to think about what quarterback and two wide receiver pairings, those triplets there, that trio.
Yeah.
Who's been better?
I can't tell you one.
Who's been better? Because, I mean, those three together when they're playing, and I'm not even talking about Kyron Williams in the back, and Blake Corum, the way they've been running.
Yeah, Blake Corum's
Colby
actually
Parkinson with that catch that he had last week,
been
too.
balling.
Unreal. And that defense, I'm not even talking about them either. I think these two teams are the most complete teams in football.
I
think
completely
the Rams
agree.
I think the Rams this year are the most complete football team I've seen in the last 5 years. I think personally, and maybe the Eagles last year.
Okay.
But they're definitely one of them, and they definitely feel like a team that should be in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Even if they don't make it this year, but I think regardless, we need to start having those discussions about Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, and Puka Nacua, because those three, that trio together is just
there's a reason
legendary.
why he's thrown the most touchdowns this year.
Yep.
And there's your reason.
Yep.
Even if it's those 1-yard touchdowns, he still throws into the
with
top
those
two
guys, man. I mean, they deserve the MVP just as much as Matt Stafford, I think. But obviously, Matt has done some crazy things and made some crazy throws and stayed sharp throughout his career to this point when he's been banged up, bruised, battered, beaten, all on the field this year, and he's still showing up.
And I think
and giving an MVP performance this season.
What also goes into my decision, as much as it is the team that they have, I compare coaching. And you know who's ready for this moment is someone like Sean McVay.
It's Sean McVay. I mean,
and Michael Floor.
The dude, he's won 1 Super Bowl. He's been to 2.
Yep.
Been in the NFC Championship
Many
3 times.
Yeah.
Always been a perennial Super Bowl favorite, besides maybe 2 years of his coaching stint with the Rams.
Okay, yeah.
But that guy, I mean, we need to start having some talks about him. The dude's not even 40 years old yet.
Yeah.
Not even 40
He's
years old.
He's the youngest guy in the NFC.
And the things that he's done his first 9 seasons, 8 seasons with the Rams,
unbelievable.
Can't be replicated, and I think he will go down potentially as the GOAT of football coaching, potentially at the end of it. He's got just so much more to go.
He does.
He could retire early, but he's got so much more to go, and I think that what he's building in LA,
the way that they retooled their team, unreal.
Right. So I keep talking about the Rams. I love that team.
I do too. They're a lot of fun. Plus, I want Devontae to get a ring, man.
That's going to be a great game. Going to be a good 2 games on Sunday. Gab, you got anything else here?
No, I got Patriots and Rams. You got Broncos and Rams.
Yep. Should be a good one. I mean, it's crazy that neither of us are picking the Seahawks, but I mean, it's just the way it goes.
I think it's just the 2 people that we are,
and
how we think about football. Because I think about complementary football and who plays that the most in this league. Personally, I know the Seattle team has one of the best defenses in the league, but when it comes to experience, that's what the Rams have more.
And believe it or not, storylines matter too. I know it doesn't really factor into the game, but it kind of it makes it easier to predict who's going to win. I feel like when you pull out random facts and stuff in historical measurements of the games against each other.
I just want this game to be better than what the divisional round with the Seahawks.
I hope so too, and I think it will be.
Yeah.
I think that the Rams are going to put up a better fight than those battered 49ers that they played last week.
Yeah.
But we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for sticking with us. And as always, follow us on our Instagram.
At Out of Bounds Podcast with a dot in between every single word.
We'll get things back going soon. It's going to, a little start, slow start to the spring 2026. But we're here. Season 7 is here. Thank you guys as always, and have a day.
Have a day.